Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Joey. Good morning, Rebecca. Good morning, Tamra. Andy, glad y'all are all in here. It is a fine Monday morning. We are December the 9th, y'all. The last single digit day of the month of the year, December the 9th. I don't know if you ever thought about it that way. I don't know why I do, but I did. This is the last single digit date of 2024. The last one. There won't be another one in this year. Isn't that kind of a strange way of looking at it? I know, but just popped into my mind. We are in Proverbs 9, coinciding with that date or syncing with that date of December the 9th. The next single digit we have will be New Year's Day. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Where did 24 go? Where did 24 go? All right, Proverbs 9, y'all. Let's get into this. It's a little cool in my studio this morning. Yes. Verse 1 through 6 has a note. Make sure here. And it starts out, the way of wisdom is the heading. Verse 1, wisdom has built her house. She has hewn out her 7 pillars. She has slaughtered her meat. She has mixed her wine. She has also finished her table. She has sent out her maidens. She cries out from the highest places of the city. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. As for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, come eat and my bread. Come eat of my bread and drink of my wine I have mixed. Forsake foolishness and live and go in the way of understanding. Proverbs chapter 9. Let's see what that note has to say. Those who respond to wisdom's maidens and choose her gracious banquet, though they may lack understanding and moral experience, will soon see a change in themselves. Wisdom is like a palace or temple with pillars, reminiscent of Solomon's temple. Pillars give a building lasting strength and beauty. Nothing about the harlot's ways endures. Okay, yeah. Wisdom is a great place to hang out, y'all. And what is wisdom? We've learned through the Proverbs. Wisdom is the knowledge of God and God's ways for our life and living in that. That is wisdom. Verses 7 through 12 have a note. Excuse me. Let's read starting in verse 7. He who corrects a scoffer gets shame for himself, and he who rebukes a wicked man only harms himself. Do not correct a scoffer, lest he hate you. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love you. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be still wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. For by me your days will be multiplied, and years of life will be added to you. If you are wise for yourself, and if you scoff, you will bear it alone. Welcome in, Brenda. Good morning, Alan. Glad you guys are in here. I think I've said good morning to everyone else. Glad to see you guys in here. Let's look at this note on verses 7 through 12. This section lies between two different kinds of invitations, each with its own destiny. Wisdom's banquet is verses 1 through 6, or the way of folly, verses 13 through 18, which we've yet to read. We're fixing to read that. The wise person who sits at wisdom's banquet will be still wiser, because wisdom begets more wisdom. And anytime you can compound something, especially something like wisdom or knowledge, then it is a good thing. And the heading for the next section, you may have already guessed from the notes, the way of folly. Wait a minute. Yeah, let's go back to verse 10. I got a note on verse 10. Then we'll get to the way of folly. The fear of the Lord, this is verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. That note says, again, Solomon states that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And he said that back in Proverbs 1:7. Here, however, he explains the fear in terms of knowledge of the Holy One. For wise, skilled living in the world, God requires, above all, a right understanding of God's holiness and a reverent submission to his ways. And you can see that in Psalms 111:10. Okay, now let's go look at the way of folly, which is verses 13 through 18. Starting in verse 13, a wise woman is clamorous. She is simple and knows nothing. I'm sorry. Golly, God, I don't even know where that came from. A foolish woman. I said wise. I know I did. Hey, Christine Betts. A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knows nothing, for she sits at the door of her house on a seat by the highest places of the city to call to those who pass by, who go straight on their way. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. And as for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he does not know that the dead are there, that her guests are in the depths of hell. You know, it says in verse 16, whoever is simple, let him turn in here. And as for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, stolen water is sweet. Let's go back up to verse. Where did I see that? Wisdom has built her house. She has hewn the 7 pillars, slaughtered her meat. She has mixed her wine. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. As for him who lacks, this is verse 4. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. As for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, come eat of my bread. She doesn't tell him to be drinking stolen wine or stolen water and bread in secret. So that is the difference. They both have enticing ways of identical. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. That is something I hadn't picked up on before. All right, the note on verse 13 through 18, the way of folly, I believe, the way of folly, the note there says, the power of the foolish is presented here in the form of a seductress. She may be clever, acquainted with the ways of the world, and crafty, yet she is blind to spiritual realities. Her brazen ways are exciting or clamorous. Talk may be persuasive, but persuasion does not equal permission in the Lord's eyes. The fact that the woman omitted her pleasures, stolen water, were wrong should be the Christian signal to flee, no matter how tantalizing they may seem to the flesh. No doubt, y'all. No doubt. It is time to do the redneck weather. The redneck weather is done already and posted. That was what that alarm was. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 6, verses 10 through 20. And let's get that armor on, y'all. It is the way of the devil to preserve the ways of God, to perverse the ways of God. is how yes, no doubt. I mean, the devil is mirroring God in trickery to sway you the wrong way. The exact same means of persuasion, but what's there when you turn to it is different. One is wisdom and knowledge, and the other is stolen water and bread in secret. Yeah, no way, no. I have already put my message on there on your redneck weather report. Cool, Rebecca. Thank you. I am way behind y'all on answering my messages on my regular YouTube stuff. I have just absolutely been swamped with messages, and I want to answer every one of them that I can. So, Rebecca, eventually I will catch up. Good Lord willing, I will catch up. Let's get this armor on, y'all. Let's get this armor on. Thank you for watching, Miss Rebecca. It is very little breeze out there this morning, but 41 degrees, pretty nice. Proverbs, Ephesians chapter 6, the whole armor of God. Finally, my brethren, verse 10, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand, stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, having put on your breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith with which you will be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to this end with all perseverance and supplication for the saints, and for me, that utterance may be given to me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, that in it I may speak boldly as I ought to speak. Y'all, we got our armor on. We are ready to face the day. We got the word of God in us to hash over, to grow our relationship with Christ, and something of good fruit in our spirit and mind rather than what the world wants us to have. So we are ready to face our day. Big day, got a lot to do this morning, always do on Monday mornings. So I'm going to jump out here fairly quickly. Good morning, Leonard Mountain Homestead. If you see this later, Amy was in our live broadcast last night, but got their coffee cup this morning. And that coffee's good, y'all. So challenge you guys to go be a blessing for someone else today. And I just say God bless y'all. I love each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for being in here.